Hello and welcome to the Boardroom Beauty Podcast. I'm your host, Lydia Drakeford. In Boardroom Beauty, we go behind the industry scenes with changemakers and innovators that are advancing inclusion through their presence and their hard work in beauty. So today we are being joined by Tomi and Asmeret of the Black Beauty Club. And honestly, this feels like such a full circle moment. I remember when I moved to Brooklyn back in 2021 and going to my first event. And honestly, like you all played such a critical role in me developing my beauty community. So I wanted to start off by handing you all your flowers because you all do such incredible, impactful, meaningful work. So thank you for all that you do. And thank you all for joining.
Oh.
Wait, so where did you move from?
First, let's start there. I'm from Charlotte. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina.
So you were working from Charlotte the whole time?
So rewind. So I'm originally from Charlotte, moved to Ann Arbor for my job with Google. Necessary, very unfortunate experience. Did that for a year, and then the pandemic hit. So I just moved home, saved money, but there's only so long you can live with your parents. So saved money, moved to New York. I actually did a little stint in 2020, fall of 2020, kind of, when the rates had gone back down for that brief moment, went back home and then officially moved spring of 2021. So I'm coming up on 3 years here and it's flown by. But I remember my first event and that experience just felt so curated and elevated, yet warm and welcoming, and the caliber of people were there, and there's such representation and diversity, and the conversations being had. I'd never been in a room where those conversations were taking place amongst such people. So can you all start out just by telling what is a Black Beauty Club? Or first, who are you all before we even get into that? Who is Tomi and Asmeret? How did you all meet? How did this manifest?
Go ahead.
Okay, so Asmeret's husband is the brother I never had.
No way.
Yes. And I'm always harassing and bothering him. And so then he used to hate it so much because I would always pick. He did. I used to pick on him all the time.
So it's
and
this brother sister
literally,
relationship.
And he used to always be like, "Who is this annoying person that's always annoying me?" And then Asmeret loved it so much because nobody bothers Stanley Lumax.
Stanley Lumax.
Yes, nobody
except you.
Except me. No one picks on him all the time. And so she thought it was
every man needs someone to pick on them sometimes.
Yeah, she thought it was
you were the one.
She thought it was the funniest thing ever. And so that's how we ended up meeting, because I was always bothering him every time, because he used to have this amazing event called African Chop House that everyone would come to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he still has it, but it's not in his house anymore. Now it's outside. It's everywhere. After the pandemic, it just didn't. It wasn't a house thing. It was everywhere else, but in the house.
Yeah.
And so he would be he's. It's very interesting because he's I feel we're very similar because he's he's an extrovert, but not really an extrovert.
I would consider you an extrovert.
I'm not an extrovert. People think that I am.
Yes, actually,
both of them are basically extroverted
introverts. Yes, because you definitely have your extroverted moments. I mean, you host these events and bring people together, but you need the time to recharge.
Yeah, and so I would walk around harassing him, and he would always be and then he would find people and be "You should meet Tomi," and that was his way to pass me off to people. He does it all the time.
No,
and he would pass me off. Why? Look at her defending her husband.
No, at the end of the day, he was she was talking to him about a couple of subjects, and he's like, "You know what? You should just talk to Asmeret."
Yeah.
And then
you all should be friends.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, because at that time I was working at Bobbi Brown Estee Lauder, and so And so then I would because also it was Bobbi Brown was very minimal, clean, well, not clean beauty, but very that clean girl aesthetic.
Yes.
And Asmeret obviously is very clean girl aesthetic, so I would
sure
throw all these things at her.
Yeah.
That I thought.
Tomi trying to make me a beauty influencer.
I mean, literally, you've done modeling before, for Glossier, and did you also model for Bobbi Brown?
No,
she should have.
Yeah, why? How come you never hired me?
I don't know. Well, I feel what do you call it?
Okay,
she would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Wait, no, okay. Let's rewind a little bit. Let's go back to the question.
Yeah.
So then, what do you call it? So,
but we started. So he was basically, you guys should talk instead.
Yeah.
We started talking. And
but I mean, at that time we weren't really just doing anything. We just became
no, we're friends.
We just became friends.
But I also loved it because the conversations we had went beyond, I think, the surface conversations that were happening during that time in terms of Black beauty. So at this time, you know, a lot of conversations around Black beauty was around models and like, how come we don't see Black models represent? Yeah, in terms of and our conversations were like, you know what, that is great, that's important, but there's a lot more other levels that we're not having those conversations that actually are the foundation to be able to, you know, to start, to run, and like, you know, have a sustainable business. So that's a lot of a conversation was around it. Like, what are the other challenges for, you know, Black and brown beauty founders? Because we know there's a lot of them, but how come they're never able to, like, not a lot of them are able to go beyond the mom and pop store? So a lot of our conversation was that, and it was also really refreshing because, again, we were able to have deeper conversations.
Yeah, because like I'm like a deep person. I'm not like a surface talker. And
I would say you're both very deep people.
Yeah, and we're also very different people because the thing is, at the end of the day, Asmeret comes from like a very like production background, and so she's thinking about like the logistical aspect of everything. She's always thinking about how everything like ticks and talks, right? And so like, if I'm like thinking about something like this, she's also thinking about like what is like working behind it.
She provides a structure.
Exactly. So it just like made our conversation so much more like rich. You know.
And so at that time you were at Bobbi Brown, and
I was done with Bobbi Brown at this point during the pandemic.
And this was
2019, 2020.
Right?
And you're now at Pinterest.
Yeah, so now I'm at Pinterest, but then it was pandemic. I wasn't working. I was just chilling.
You were not chilling. People were trying to stay healthy, stay alive during that time.
I was chilling.
No, during that time, I just left fashion. I was, that is 2019. You're right.
2019. She was,
she was right before. That was before the pandemic.
She was like, pandemic. She was like, I'm done with this.
I didn't realize you had a fashion background.
Heavy.
Yes.
Wow.
But my background was in production and product development and supply chains management.
I had no clue. That explains like the structure and rigor behind like your.
And I just decided, 2019, that I wanted to phase out of fashion. At least the way I was working, and then so I had started working on a beauty project. So it all kind of aligned. But then pandemic hit. But at least I think that was also the kind of the catalyst to be able to grow a community around like the, again, deeper issues beyond the visual of it.
And so what's so funny is I discovered Black Beauty Club in its physical form, in-person events, but you all originated on Clubhouse.
Yes. Because we would sit and some conversations would be for hours. And she's like, you know what, we should just take this out on Clubhouse.
Wow. So these conversations were happening amongst you two, and you said like we should invite more people to the conversation.
Well, so what happened was we would be on on Clubhouse, and there'll be all these conversations about money. Remember? And they'll be like, let's do a pitch, right? And people would come in and pitch stuff, but like nobody was talking about like beauty or things that related to like the wellness of women or Black women, just anything that related to anything that we were very interested in. But I just felt like there was, was it real money? I don't really know. But things happened, right? Things were shaking and happening, I guess. Or people were acting like things were shaking and happening.
Like Clubhouse is like so deep in my memory. It's hard for me to recall what types of conversations were happening, but like
good conversations happening in the beginning.
In the beginning,
the people who came after.
It was Wild Wild West. But I think in the beginning, it was really amazing. Because we started with one conversation, and at one point we were actually curating 5 conversations a week.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
Yes. Yeah. It was a lot. But it's also amazing because what we realized quickly was the questions that we were discussing among us, other people having the same questions. Globally, right? And then people really were dying to like... wrong choice of words. People really wanting to connect. No, because during that time.
It was a pandemic.
People really wanted to sorry. I was like, that's not a good choice of word. But during that time, more than ever, we saw the need for people to really, really connect. And what we realized too was also the lack of information, that there was not enough information on where to find resources.
Right.
if you want to start a brand, or if you want to do this, or if you want to connect with somebody in a certain part of the industry. And that's what we realized. We're like, okay, you know what? The one thing that we can do is make sure that we connect people.
Yeah.
And help start the conversations that are not being held.
Yeah, and back then we used to have a partner, Esne, who's the founder of Skin Moves, and she was really great at like finding all this like resources and like funds and things like that.
Yeah.
And so she would like every month like get everyone that was like I fund whoever grants and all this stuff, and we would like put all the grants out there.
Yeah.
And then there would be people would come together like, well, how do I do a grant? Like, you know, what is the process? And then they would come together and be like, well, just like, you know, don't give up, you know, just go through the questions. And basically, if you have a format, the same format would ultimately work over and over again. She was really good at getting money and things like that. And so that was really helpful for people like were obsessed with the funds.
They were obsessed with, like, I was going to say, like, it makes sense that you all were so focused on like supporting founders, because in 2020, like this was during the same time as like, you know, all of like the promises and like the, you know, focus and support for Black owned businesses. And so, I mean, there were so many brands that were born out of the pandemic and so much appetite to support founders. So it makes a lot of sense. And it's actually, I actually didn't realize that you were so founder focused originally.
Yes, because I mean, one of the conversation was that at that time, you know, people were scrambling to find a Black owned brand.
Yes.
They were putting together all kinds of lists.
Yeah.
And what we noticed was also you tend to be just the same 5 brands.
Literally.
Always,
yeah.
And we're like, you know,
I mean, you still see some of the same 5 brands. Yeah.
But at least there is a wider pool now.
Yeah.
And category.
More categories.
So
true.
One of the things we also, early on decided on was like, how do we make sure that we create space for other voices or brands that are not usually highlighted, or do not have access to PR or communication or marketing and so on. Like, that was also one of the things that we early on decided, okay, you know what, how do we make sure that these brands or these founders have a space as well?
So, I mean, you've always been so solution oriented. Back to the point about, you know, starting off and being very founder focused. I mean, now I came in on sort of like the back end in 2021 when I discovered you all. And I mean, now it's like, it goes beyond founders. It's content creators, it's enthusiasts, it's brand executives. So like, I guess how has Black Beauty Club kind of grown organically with you all's community and like expanded into like including more people in the Black beauty space?
Honestly, we just do what the audience tells us to do. That's what we've always done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It shows. No, it shows.
No, but it's
so simple, but it shows.
So the Black Beauty Club it's not me, it's not Tomi,
Yeah.
it's all of us together. So
Yeah.
The idea of like truly what is a community,
Right.
So what drives us in terms of the topics or how they're being curated, it's really about what is happening, and that's why we're always ever kind of expanding.
Yeah.
Because it's as we see what's happening in the beauty category, we're expanding along with it, because what we see now, there's even more brands and more brands being represented, more categories, as you mentioned, and so on. So, and with that, we also have the opportunity to bring up more topics.
Yeah.
And widen.
You're super responsive and agile, and like you're just like growing and I mean, I think about, you know, like I think about myself who works at like an intersection of beauty and tech, and I never feel out of place at your events. So, I mean, I'm also curious over time, like what have been like the needs that have kind of surfaced from your community that you all are addressing or have addressed and are continuing to address? Because it started with like founders, right?
What was one of the pivoting? I feel like the colorism and like sizeism.
And there's so many, so I know it's like hard for you all to like recall.
I think the first thing also is just like the need for community itself was necessary. Right. So I think that's the first thing. I think because at the end of the day, why it is the way it is is that like realistically there's still not enough coverage of our issues in media. Right. And so even though like we're still doing like word of mouth, and that's why influencers are so necessary, right?
Yeah.
But that's why, like, for example, like our last hot topics conversation that we had, the first question people were asking was, and a lot of the questions that we had was actually like, at this rate, with the way influencer marketing is going, like, what do we actually believe from our influencers? Because for so long, these are the people who have told us what's good,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
now it's been so oversaturated and so
Yeah.
monetized. Like, what do we look to
Right.
right now? What is actually what you're using versus what you're marketing to us at this
Yeah.
point, right?
Yeah.
And so I say that because ultimately, between that and between magazines, what exactly is the authentic space for me to come and know, like, is this water actually good for me, or is this hairstyle actually good for me?
Yeah.
Like, what actually is good for me? So I think
Right.
these spaces, they come in and they get to meet a friend, and they can be like, oh, what are you actually using? Your skin
Yeah.
actually looks amazing. You
Yeah.
can tell them, oh, I'm trying like Epilogic, which everyone mentions every single time we come to the Black Beauty
Yeah,
Club.
that eye
And so
mask.
people are really like,
That
yeah,
retinal eye mask.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or they
fabulous.
talk about like, topicals as, patches, or the new lip gloss, or it
Yeah.
might be sticky, but I really love it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? The shine stays on. Like, those moments really mean something
Yeah.
to people that are there, and that
Because they're not getting it anywhere else.
because you're not getting it anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's not filtered, it's not paid
Yeah.
for, it's not branded, it's not
Yeah.
monetized.
So true.
That's what people are excited for, and they feel like the word of mouth that's happening there is authentic. It's not
Yeah.
bought, and it's
Yeah.
not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I also think it's because both of us coming from fashion and beauty and worked in spaces that are absolutely not inclusive. Like that's,
Yeah.
That's been very exclusive. That's been a very intentional process to create a space that is inclusive. Meaning not, now we're talking about like so even if you are a founder, or if you're an influencer, or if you're just interested, just want to come, like being able to come there, come and participate, or just sit there and feeling like you belong.
Yeah.
That has been like very important for us. So, and we think about that in terms of like, where do we set up the space? How big is this space? Who do we want to be a part of the conversations?
Yeah.
Like, how do we make sure that, we are inviting people that have a lot of experience or are new to the industry, or like, so creating,
it's really
those
amazing.
interactions are important, because otherwise, I think we all been through like part of it where it's like, you have industry events, and there's maybe people that just have the same experience or the same amount of experience, or coming from the same background. And so there's not
The same point of view.
perspectives, right? So the idea with the Black Beauty Club is, again, having different perspectives and people with different backgrounds. And again, we keep saying it over and over again. Black people are not a monolith.
Right. But we all have like this shared interest, just different perspective.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's important that we have different perspectives.
And you create a space that makes it feel okay. Like I was going to say, it's amazing because I've shown up and like, now I know what to expect, but like there's this feeling of like such inclusivity and community, yet like you feel like a cool girl being in this space, so I feel like you really touched on like how you all are achieving this like really healthy balance between like creating a warm, inviting environment, yet still like this experience that people like are craving and is rare, and like people are like it's sought after, right? And I'm sure that's really challenging. Like I'm sure brands today are like, how do we build community in a way that's like, I mean, kind of exclusive, but also inclusive. And there's a very like fine line they're trying to balance, right? And you all seem to have like mastered that.
They just got to keep it real.
Yeah.
Right?
No, that's the problem. I think that the people.
Yeah, no, it's true.
don't.
I mean, like, even like when we just did the event with like NARS, like,
Yeah.
that was like a great collaboration with them in terms of them even trusting us, right? Like, it was the influencers that we chose to be there were of different calibers.
Yeah.
They came from different background. We had the Muslim girls there, and even the Muslim girls were like different types of Muslim girls.
Yeah.
They were like the full-on hardcore conservative hijabi girls that were there. There were just the modest Muslim girl that was there, and then there was the Muslim girl there, like, dude, dude, like I know that your grandma is like rolling in her grave,
Yeah.
Muslim girl. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But at the same time, they were there with like, like the Instagram baddie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there was also like the corporate baddie as
Yeah.
well. You know what I mean? There was all types of, but these girls are all like a reflection of the diversity of Blackness, and all these girls are inspiring all kinds of younger Black girls, and they deserve to be at the table. And some
Yeah.
of them had 1 million followers, 2 million, 500,000. Some of them were 10K, and they were, I mean, one of Amina Coco, who was there, she was like, she felt like she was in her For You page.
Wow.
And to me,
I
I
mean,
was
it
like,
looks like just like the photos that came from the event, like it looked like a For You page in real life.
Yeah.
Like it actually did. I mean, what were some of the topics that I know this was like a very like, exclusive event, but I'm curious, like, what were some topics that came up amongst such like a diverse crowd of creators?
I mean, it was definitely a conversation. It was really kind of rooted in just the girls honestly celebrating themselves.
Mm,
I mean, we are in 2024, right? Yeah. it is
yeah.
2024.
I know.
Still.
I forget.
But the dinner was really celebrating the work that influencers do and the work that they've been doing, because when you think about 2024 versus 2004, 20 years ago, the rise of influencers, YouTube, and things like that. I think YouTube came out in 2004, 2000.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't content like this being created. It was influencers, respect to the Jackie Ainas and things like that, right? They're the ones who have helped really change and shifted the standards of beauty today. Without them, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Yeah.
Without them, Rihanna couldn't have done what she has done with Fenty Beauty, as
No
much as
way.
we credit her
Yeah.
today. Without them, like, we wouldn't be shifting the standards. The young girls who are out here, fighting their fight around, celebrating their beauty, celebrating their natural hair, all that stuff is all due to these girls that get up every single day, shoot their content, do their video, allow themselves to be harassed, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. It's all, like, seriously,
No.
it's all because of these girls every
Yeah.
single day. So it was really about, like, when you are out here making history, often you don't realize you're making history until much later, and they are a part of the history that
It's so true.
we don't know, they don't realize it's happening, but it is happening. And it's important to note that one day we're gonna go back and look at the fact that, like, this was a moment.
Right. Like they're doing something that's like they're a catalyst to something that they don't even know that they're a catalyst for.
Yeah.
And it won't even become apparent to them until like years later.
Mm-hmm.
And it always happens that way. I feel like this is, I mean, the Black Beauty Club in many ways is probably that. Like you probably don't realize what you're doing until like looking back and reflecting. And like I can think about so many events that have like had the most like groundbreaking discussions for me. Like my favorite was probably when you assembled a lot of like Black founders together to talk about the state of Black funding post 2020, after all of those promises were made. And like I was so surprised to see that like most of them had still not received the funding that so many of them had been promised or were hopeful for. But for you all, like, are there any like moments in time for you all that were just like, wow, we did that? Like, to me, there are moments. There are definitely like moments to me, but I'm curious, like, what are some of your favorites?
I mean, I feel like there's been so many for me. Honestly, to be honest with you, like every time,
Yeah.
I feel like I always look at like across the room and I'm always amazed. I'm like, there's so much beauty in here.
Yeah.
Like, I was
Every
telling you
time.
earlier
Yeah.
today, like, and the beauty is not, I think the beauty also lies in like everyone like looks different.
Yeah.
There's not just one single style. It's not just one group. Like there's different types of styles and beauties and ideas around, and I think that's what makes me so happy. I mean, obviously it's a room full of Black and brown people.
Yeah.
But everyone being in the room together and being able to, I don't know, just share this moment. I don't know. For me, every
and
time
they really
we
like,
have an event, I'm always like,
and they really
"Ah,
show
this is
up.
Yeah, this is.
I know.
People
And
show up.
even when I like, honestly, when I come to the events, I'm just like, wow, all these people, all these beautiful people showed up and we're all together. I feel the same way. And like spoken like I mean, coming from you, Asmeret, like you know, you're a community builder yourself, and like not just Black Beauty Club, but also in what you do. Can you share like what your 9 to 5 is? Because I think that's pretty cool.
One, I don't think I've ever had a 9 to 5.
Yeah,
but
well, you know, your like
No,
day
She's like
job.
7 to 10.
well, you were like 7 to 12. Then we talked about this.
Just this week.
No, but you know, the other thing that building is One Love Community Fridge, which is a community-based organization, right? So, but it's very similar, to be honest with you, because at the end of the day, the kind of principle that drives One Love is access, inclusion, education, respect, dignity, and health. And that's very, very much in line with the Black Beauty Club. And then the other one is connect, empower, and engage.
Yeah.
It's basically the same thing. They just have different expressions.
Yep.
But that's what we always think about in terms of Black Beauty Club. Like, you know, it's not about us as an individual, but us as a community. And like, what can we help, like, be catalysts for, to make sure that when people come to our events or connect with us, it leads to something else. Either they meet somebody else, or they're, you know, if they're looking to meet a press person, or, you know, or they're looking to get funding, or they're looking to connect with an influencer, or they actually just want to have somebody to, you know, connect with after, or build other community on their own.
Yeah.
That's what we want people to come. And I think that's what we always keep in the forefront when we are like curating the panels or conversations on the topics. Like, what does this lead to afterwards?
Yeah.
So it's not just a trauma venting session.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyhow, so
Like,
but-
what is it? It
so-
needs to be like outcome oriented.
Yeah.
But also what I love is, like, you know, obviously, like, One Love Community Fridge, something that I never get to work on the winter, because all the way in Brooklyn, and it's so cold.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, respect and dignity, which is really important to me, and in which the way they handle the food.
Yeah.
And they clean the fridges and everything. I look at the picture, everything's so beautiful. Everything is just so thoughtful, right? It's the same way in which, like, the Black Beauty Club is always going to be in a beautiful place.
Yes.
It's always going to be a beautiful experience.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter whether you are the poshest, bougiest Black girl, or whether you're from the hood or from the ghetto. You're always going to have the same experience, and you're always going to have access.
Yeah.
We're not gatekeeping, and that's something that we really stand on.
I mean, the fact that you all have a residency with Dumbo House, which is
All of
a
Soho
Soho
houses.
house, all Soho houses. I mean, so many people wouldn't have access to that space if it weren't for you all. And I mean, I think about when we co-hosted between Black Beauty Club and Boardroom Beauty, and you know, you talked about when we were deciding between if we wanted to have it in the actual like Dumbo House space where there's like the restaurant and, you know, just kind of the club and lounge, or if we wanted to have it off over in like Soho Works. And you said, no, I don't like to have it in Soho Works, because then if people want to connect and hang out after and maybe get a drink or go to dinner, then they have to be a member to Dumbo House. And that was like a light bulb that went off to me, because it made me realize that this is also about accessibility. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many. I grew up in New York City. And the first couple of years when I lived in New York City, I lived in the Bronx.
Yeah.
I live with my family in the Bronx. And sometimes when you live in certain places, you don't go past, you don't go past the Bronx, or you don't go past Brooklyn before Brooklyn was cool,
Yeah.
or you don't go past Queens. Or even like when I went to school in Chicago, there are a lot of people that I went to school in Chicago that never left Chicago. They never left Chicago.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Or didn't even have passports.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So when you give people like access who are like, you know, like, oh, I saw this thing at the Black Beauty Club, and so I came all the way out here, and this is my first time coming to some place like this or whatever. Do you even understand like what you unlock for certain people?
Yeah.
To be like, oh, I can be here. People who look like me are here.
Yeah.
And so therefore I can set this goal for myself.
Yeah.
Not that like this is the biggest goal or the best goal or whatever.
Yeah. But it's a goal.
But it's a goal.
And it's like, and you're being invited into this network of people that also have goals.
Yeah,
So it's
You
like
know?
lifting each other.
exactly. You got to see people that look like yourself in beautiful places.
Yeah. I love that.
No, and we do like beautiful.
We sure do, and we are.
We look very beautiful. We're always gorgeous,
do.
especially when we're together. I guess like when you all have really mastered this like community building muscle, right? Like, what do you think that beauty brands that are trying to like authentically engage and tap into a community, especially a Black community, like, I don't know, like, this is a very loaded question, but like, what would you advise? Like, the authenticity is like the most important piece. Like, be real, but like, I feel like if I were to answer the question for you, like, first thing that comes to mind is like solve a problem, right? Like, be solution oriented, but also have like this like two-way conversation. Like, don't tell people what they need. Like, let them tell you what they need, right? I don't know. What do you think?
I think what we always say is beauty is culture for
Mm,
Black people.
yeah,
I think
it
that's
really
the first
is.
thing.
Yeah.
So like if you're just trying to sell Black people product,
Right.
then you have failed.
Yes.
But if you're trying to talk to Black people from a cultural perspective, then at
Hmm.
least you're starting somewhere.
Yeah.
And then when you think about it from a cultural perspective, then you're going to realize that there's multiple cultures that
Hmm.
you're
We're not a
engaging
monolith.
with,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so for me, I feel like that is the exchange that people need to kind of like have and sort of understand constantly. And
Yeah.
you're not talking to a beauty community, you're talking to multiple beauty communities, and people are, and it's like an overlap. It's literally like a Venn diagram. And people are kind of like in between so many
Yeah.
different ways, you know what I mean? So if you really want to like engage with the Black community, you're not going to understand half the stuff that we're doing,
Yeah.
and you have to be okay with not understanding it.
Yeah. But also hire people from that community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to understand
that
it.
That part.
complicated.
That
Just
part.
hire and pay
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
from that community instead of trying to make things up or
Yeah.
get it wrong,
Yeah.
which happens quite often.
I mean, I love what you said there, Tomi, like that beauty is culture. Like, I think it all starts with the culture for us. And, I see all types of brands, not just beauty brands, but brands in general fail to properly integrate themselves into communities' cultures, right? And that's where they fail. Or it's like they think that they're doing it the right way, but like some don't even make the effort. Let's just be honest. Like some don't even, I think about like, different tech company coming from like the tech world, right? Like some tech companies do a better job than others. Like, for example, I think like Instagram does a great job of integrating themselves in the community more than like an Amazon, right? But like if that cultural integration, if that like if that relationship isn't there that allows the brand to be educated by the community, which you all have mastered so well, then that's where the miss is, and that's where it becomes so important to actually like have representation from that community advising the brand.
I mean, which brand do you know has the most cultural power today? Name one. Name one. You know it.
Nike.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what culture are they the most integrated in?
The Black culture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Black culture.
Yeah.
Sports culture.
Yeah.
Basketball culture.
Yeah. Fashion. I mean, like, and
they're not even in fashion. Nobody cares about.
I know.
No, I'm
I know,
serious.
but like, but they're in so many other cultures. Like,
But because they're so ingrained in Black culture,
yeah,
which is also heavily tied in basketball culture,
yeah,
they like every single time if you Googled your phone right now and you talked about the top 2024 brands, top 2023 brands amongst Gen Z, not in Gen Z or whatever, Nike is number one.
I know.
LVMH is probably number two.
Yeah.
Adidas is probably number four. It's always going to be Nike.
Yeah.
And it's because they understand Black culture, because they've hired literally almost every Black person running almost every other thing except for in their executive suite.
They have.
So like, and they let them do what needs to be done, except for pay them what they need to get paid. Probably, right? I'm just saying.
I mean, do you think that I look at like Black-owned brands like topicals that are like doing this so well, that
Understanding culture
in a sense of like, they understand that their community is not just like a beauty enthusiast. They're also like, they also love hip hop. So they bought in like Tiana Taylor and like, they're like expanding outside of just like beauty conversations.
Tapping different cultures,
right? Do you think that these, white, like brands that are like generally and originally like white, like the L'Oreal's, Bobbi Brown, for example. Do you think that it's them simply hiring in representation from the Black community is enough for them to resonate, or do you think that they'll ever be able to like really like fully penetrate in a way that feels authentic? I think of like Glossier, right? Like,
So here's the thing, right? It's like at the end of the day, you're not trying to be a Black brand
right.
as a Bobbi Brown or Mac or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You're just trying to be a brand for a certain kind of person. The question is like, what kind of person are you trying to go for, right? And so whoever that person is, you need to understand what their culture is and how it integrates across so many different kinds of people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I always use this as an example, cottagecore aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
When people think about cottagecore, they automatically think about like pink and a white girl.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is like cottagecore is a trend or is an aesthetic that can work across so many types of girls, whether you're Black, Asian, whatever, different bodies, non-binary people, whatever, and things like that. So it's like, if your brand is cottagecore, how are you making sure that cottagecore aesthetic is visible across different kinds of people? That
That's
is all that you need to do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? And the point is like, cottagecore is its own vibe, its own aesthetic, and cottagecore doesn't necessarily need to live in hip hop.
Yeah.
It's not a hip hop
I don't think
aesthetic,
so.
but a girl who's wearing cottagecore is probably not out here listening to what's a aggressive hip hop, whatever. I don't know, like
Sexy
Mike
Red.
Will. I don't know. Sexy Red. Is Mike Will an old person?
I don't know who that
Mike
is.
Will
I'll
made
be
it.
honest. I'll be honest.
You
I don't
know?
know who that is.
But maybe like somebody who is like, I don't know, wearing cottagecore and obsessed with that aesthetic is probably listening to SZA because she like,
Yeah.
she does that, a little bit of that.
Right.
I don't know. But the point is like, you just need to understand, like, the idea is not to turn everything into the same thing.
Yeah.
The idea is not to turn every brand Black.
Yeah.
The point is like, if your brand is something, then it's catering to a particular type of person. And the thing is like, a corporate baddie can be a Black girl and a corporate baddie can be a white girl. And so what does that mean?
Yeah.
And how do you cater to that?
Yeah.
That's all. Nike knows what their formula is and what they're going for, and so therefore they figured out how to make that work. The problem is when you're trying to, when you are trying to be everything to all Black people, but all Black people are not the same and therefore not a monolith, and then you're missing the point, and then also trying to be completely white, but also not all white people are the same either.
Right.
So like, it's just,
But I do think this starts out, if you're trying to hire, like, for example, we're talking about the Black community specifically. If you're trying to reach out or target the Black consumer, again, it could be a segment within not every Black person. I think it does start with having representation within the company.
Yeah.
And in having people in empowered positions to
Yeah.
actually make
Yeah.
creative decisions or so on. Like, I do think it starts with that, or somebody that at least fully understand it, because what's happening again and again, and it's still happening, weirdly enough, like even though it's 2024, is if you look at a lot of agencies, or if you're looking at brands, and if you're looking at, like, we're still there, and it's probably going to get worse than what it was before 2020. If you're looking at the executive levels or like in decision making positions, is that it's not enough representation. Like, that group comes from a very specific, like, they're very have similar backgrounds and perspectives, and then that then colors how the outreach is happening, or the campaigns, or whatever, and all that. And I think, and I still think like we still have to like push for that.
I mean, so I agree with you in the sense that, like, in general, teams from top all the way to bottom should be diverse.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't think
top to bottom, not bottom to top.
I don't think that like people should be hired specifically because they're Black and because you're trying to target a Black community, because that's what happens. And that's why the whole entire strong Black lead team at Netflix will get cut. Right. Because they're hired just for one thing.
For one specific
thing. And they're
thing.
all gone when that happens. Or DEI. on its own completely.
Versus just
That's
like
gone.
recognizing and appreciating
but
the
AI
unique
is a whole
perspective they
different
bring.
thing.
Yeah,
I'm not talking
I
about
understand what I'm saying, but I'm just saying, but
yeah.
that's why strong black leader would get gone, or
Right,
what's the
right.
whole like Asian part of something will
Yeah.
completely get gone,
Right.
because they're like, oh, we don't like, you know, we need to cut our budget, so we're
Right.
not focusing on that.
Yeah.
But if everyone from the top all the way to the bottom is completely integrated, and everyone is coming to the table to say, here's what are we trying to solve here?
Right. And what unique perspective do all
you
these
bring to
different
the
people
table?
bring? Right.
We talk about this thing. Do you know that when they have those like, they always talk about what does equity mean or whatever, and things, and what is inclusivity? I think it's equity.
Yeah.
And they have the fence.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And then it's like everybody, like, you know, you have your stand-in.
Yeah.
You're on something that's a little bit long, and something that is what I expect it to be.
Yeah.
Like everyone is there.
We're all starting from the same place.
We're not starting from the same place.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, we all need to have the same view.
Right.
We're talking about the equity versus equality.
Exactly.
Equality.
That-
Yeah.
Yes. So that's the thing. We all need to have the same view. So somebody might need to stand here. Somebody might need to stand there.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right. Ultimately, we need to have different levels so everyone can
Oh,
see.
you're saying it's beneficial to have different levels.
Different
to have
levels. So
different
because everyone
perspectives.
needs to see.
Okay.
The problem that I see happening on
Oh,
teams
I
is
see.
that,
To
like,
bring us all to the same level.
to the same level,
Okay.
to have the same view of
Yes,
what's happening. And
yes.
that's how teams should be built, because we
Yeah.
all need to be there together
Yeah.
to see the same thing. And sometimes you need to bring people onto the team. What I
Yeah.
think is happening is that, like, executives are here and it's all white people.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what do you call it? And then, like, you know, they'll be like, oh, we need to have a diversity initiative.
Yeah.
Then they'll hire a bunch of people
Right.
to say, we
Only
need
for that
you
initiative.
to consult on all of our initiatives to make sure
Yeah.
that they're diverse.
Right.
No,
No.
just hire people onto your team.
Just have them there.
Just
and-
have them
and
there
then-
all the time.
And then you won't have the problem to begin with.
Yes, but also actually hire people on your team that have different mindset,
Yeah.
and bring different perspective. Because what also happens, which we've talked about this before, especially at big beauty companies, is they'll hire the same old black
The same
people
black people over and over again.
who have been unfortunately beaten down by the system.
They're exhausted.
They're exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have been beaten into conformity.
Right.
So, like, when they're also finally at the table, it's
Yeah.
so sad.
They're not speaking up.
They're not speaking up. They're just so
Yeah.
used to
Yeah.
the way things are going. So they're not here to push anything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, oh, yeah.
Then there's that.
And then things are just happening. And it happens so much all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it even happens to me.
Yeah.
Not like in
No, it can be it's almost like you have to like choose, like you have to pick your battles.
Yeah.
You know?
no, but sometimes you don't even know what's possible.
Yeah. There's
It's
that.
not even like picking your battles. I'm ready to pick any battle. I just don't know what's possible sometimes.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
I remember the first time we launched a new tool at my company, and I saw, black people with silver hair in search. And I've searched for this so many times, and I've never seen it. And I just thought I didn't know how to search.
Right.
I just thought I just had bad like skills.
Yeah.
Searching.
That searching skills.
Bad searching skills. I just didn't have like I didn't know how to use the right signifiers and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's not, I wasn't bad at it.
Yeah.
It was just like the internet or the algorithms that they have in place just wasn't serving me appropriately. And
I
that was the
believe
issue.
it.
So when I saw it for the first time, I was like, oh, it's not me.
Yeah.
I'm just so used to not seeing myself that I didn't think that it was possible,
didn't even
that
think it
people
was
didn't
possible.
have,
Yeah.
that the black women didn't have silver braids.
Right.
But black women have silver braids,
Plenty of
and they
black
take
women have silver.
pictures,
Yeah.
and it's on the internet. They're just not serving it to me.
It wasn't served.
Can you believe that?
Yeah. That's crazy.
So it still surprises me.
I'm with you.
So sometimes you just don't know what you don't know because you've never seen it before.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I believe it. I mean, you all have had such insight and like, perspective that your community has fed you about like what's needed. I mean, what are your like biggest hopes for like advancement in the space? I mean, you mentioned like more black executives from the top down. Like, and I completely agree. Is there anything else from maybe like a founder perspective or creator? I mean, again, another very lofty question because so much needs to be done. But like, what is top of mind for both of you right now as far as like what needs to happen like tomorrow? Again, a hard question because so many things.
The one thing we keep hearing again and again is also the funding.
Yeah.
There's no money.
There's just no money.
So
There's no
that's, like,
money.
There's no money for anybody, but there was never any money for Black founders,
And
right?
there really is no money now.
And there's really no money now. Yeah.
So the funding is one thing. I mean, it starts there. It starts there. And I think the other thing that we keep talking about is like just what do you call it? Categories. Expanding beyond. I think in the beginning it was all about just hyperpigmentation.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but then you realize there's other issues that people want to be able to address as well.
Something that I see from like a category perspective that is just not like well communicated to our demographic is like anti-aging. I feel like anti-aging so often it's a conversation of like wrinkles and fine lines, where like we don't have as much of that. We have more like sagging, right? So like, can brands get that better for us, or like can we have more Black founders expanding into like the anti-aging conversation that's like very targeted for the way we experience anti-aging? That just came to my mind when you spoke about the categories. But
I love it. I mean, even when we did the conversation in Atlanta, now I'm blanking out his name, a doctor.
Corey Hartman.
Yeah, Corey Hartman. Yes, he was amazing. But remember that he was touching on just like how different Black skin ages.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's that. There's also the fact that we're not aggressively in even like what do you call it? I forgot what the word for it is, but like spa level type of
what
do you call it? Products. I forgot exactly what you call them. But also even like
such a good call out.
Yeah, we've talked about this so many times. I forgot what it's called.
Like the dermatological level.
Yeah, but like the ones like when you go to the spa.
Yeah.
Like and they use it. Like we don't have that.
So
we don't have that.
There's I have such a hard time finding spas.
Yeah, finding good
estheticians. I'm already sensitive.
Yeah.
I never.
It's like, what are you using? Was this made for me? Like, I want to have this like luxury elevated experience where I'm getting my skin like a customized treatment, but like, are the products you're using like really right for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also like I think one of the things we talk about all the time is also like tools. I know that Pattern obviously has the hair tool, but like there's actually like not that many tools that's been developed for us or by us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, Dyson is amazing, obviously, but it would be great to see more tools. But like people are not
like
investing.
As simple as I'm so excited. It's been my like gift for people too. Has been the We the People. The lymphatic, the massage tool.
Yeah.
But something as simple as that.
Yeah.
It was just wonderful to see it from a Black owned brand.
Yeah.
Again, addressing and making that connection between like beauty and wellness and health.
Yeah.
So I was so excited. I'm still excited about it.
Thank you for reminding me. I need to get that.
Yeah, it's so good.
I was because I tried to buy it, and then the day I tried to buy it, that was the same day Instagram decided they wanted to block me.
Yeah.
Oh no, not block you. Did they shadow ban you?
Yeah, they shadow banned me.
That happened to me once. That's okay. Well, okay. I always like to wrap up on a light note. What are some of your favorite Black beauty brands that are just like heavy in your daily beauty rotation?
Okay,
I feel like I already know what
you go first. Everybody knows me.
I know. I already know.
Tired.
We're tired. We could never be tired of what I know you're gonna say.
But Apologic.
Yes.
Also, but you know what the craziest thing is now is that
but you just say apologic. You gotta tell us
which products are like your favorite.
Well, this is the sad thing.
Yeah.
It's the moisturizer. One of my daughters have discovered it.
Oh no.
Who, Ella?
Yes.
You poor. Oh no.
Because I'm like,
Yeah, and it's not cheap. So
I love I love the serum and the moisturizer. Those are the things that I use every day. And you want to tell us which products from Apologic you use?
You didn't say anything else.
Oh, okay. And the other products. So let's see here. What else am I using? I love eyeliner. I think eyeliner and is probably the one thing I use the most of any product.
Who's your favorite?
Pat McGrath.
Oh yeah, everyone
really,
loves
really
Pat McGrath eyeliner.
So that one is great. What else do I use? Well, for hair right now, using Pattern, but I'm also trying
Have you
Sacred.
tried Sacred? Okay.
trying.
Yes. I held the
Especially
product in
after-
my hand at Ursula's salon today,
Yeah.
getting my hair done. That she sent her a big box,
Yes.
and it's definitely giving
I
lux.
just want to
Saying,
say, I
but
love
that's-
how.
but it's
I just want to
tough
pause.
with it. It's
Why is everyone? No one is talking about the fact that she's sending these massive boxes and they're not sustainable.
Oh, they're not.
that's not what I was gonna say. I think that
But they're not sustainable.
They're not.
my hesitation.
They can't be
is more,
recycled?
they're heavily fragrance. So that's that's a little bit difficult for me.
Yeah. I hear that the clarifying shampoo is like the best if you're gonna like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I hear that that's the best one. I smelt it today. It's very like awakening, invigorating, like minty eucalyptus smell.
Ren is like, no.
No,
Like, I don't want any of that.
I love
near me.
eucalyptus. No, it's just that's the only thing that's sad. But I'm trying I have all the products. I'm trying that, and then I love.
I'm surprised.
I love but I also love oils.
Yeah.
I love oils. I
Yeah.
love all kinds of oils.
Yeah.
Coba, I have a
Mm.
hair and body oil that I'm using right now.
Well, you always look very well moisturized, so I believe it.
Oh, thank you. Go ahead, Tomi, jump in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So for my hair,
Yeah.
I use Charlotte Mensa.
Oh, I love
for
Charlotte.
your braids,
Yes,
really?
I
Yeah,
wash
because
my
you keep
hair.
them very like well. Like I feel like I want to go with the boho look, but I'm afraid that they're gonna get like matted up.
No.
No.
Yeah, yours
Use-
are no way.
Well, because she has the Manchetti oil in
Ah.
it.
Good.
So I wash my hair every week
Yeah,
and I use that.
and it's human hair, obviously.
It's human
yeah.
hair, yes. So it's great. And I've had this, I need to take it out actually because it's been in since January.
It still looks
Okay.
great.
Yeah, I gotta get it out.
Just-
'cause we're going to London, so we gotta
Okay,
get this
go ahead.
sorted. And then for my shower, this is so
Oh.
dramatic. I'm a very, very huge fan of what's that brand that I like? I forgot. I'm obsessed with it. How have I blanked on it now?
What is it? Way.
No. Oh God.
Uh-huh.
Negative.
Which-
They have a really great. They're like Saint Bart's body scrub. Oh my god, it smells like vacation.
Bully.
Bully.
Yes, it's a French brand.
Okay.
I'm highly obsessed with.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
are we
you like the
sharing
Parisian
non-black
brands.
Owned brand?
This is a non-black owned brand.
No,
That's
We're
okay.
only sharing black owned brand.
Okay, but this is the only non-black. This is the
okay.
only non-black brand I'm going to talk about because I think everyone should use this French brand named Bully.
Bully.
Excuse me.
Like
is
how
Bully.
B-U. Oh yes, like from the what do you call it? It's like that beautiful store in Paris. I've been there. Yes, I have a comb. I have like an engraved comb from
have
them.
4 combs.
Yeah.
Why do I have 4 combs?
I mean,
don't-
you-
Why do I have all engraved with my name? Why?
It's just
Beautiful.
beautiful. Yeah,
Okay.
they have very unique scents.
Do I use it? No, this
Ugh,
combs. I don't use.
I don't
combs.
use that comb. No, I don't
But
use
they
it. I
look
just
so
have.
good.
It's on my vanity.
You're happy
It's
looking at them. But
yes.
stick to black owned brands.
Okay. I also, but okay. While we're at it, then I use the same Bully oil as well.
Yeah,
Okay. That's all.
got that all year.
For my face, I use Epilogic.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Face wash, the pink one.
Okay.
I really did try to not use Epilogic
Why?
because
Why?
I
It's
felt like
expensive.
no, not because I just feel like am I really going to be that girl who uses an entire collection?
Right, but you do.
But I am that girl,
That's so funny.
and it was really sad.
I mean,
That's not sad. It's good when you find something that
Yes,
works for you.
I mean, it's a little boring. Like, it's not sad. It's like
Yeah.
if you're just like, I feel like skincare
But-
has become such a hobby where you just want to like
yes,
try everything
but I
for like the
refuse.
hobby of it. It's
No.
just like a collection.
I
like,
refuse to. So I use that.
yeah.
It's fantastic. And then I used the Epilogic Master Plan.
Okay.
Oh, before I use the Master Plan, I also use the toner
Toner is
Okay.
good.
because the toner is fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it
Um,
really like minimizes your
Yes.
pores?
I don't know about minimizing any pores, but it makes my skin looks good. Okay.
You don't have pores, so
I don't know if there were pores there before, but there's no pause now, and so I am thrilled. And then I use the master plan, and that's where it ends. Thank
You don't
God.
use the moisturizer?
I don't use a moisturizer. I use
the
Dew
best.
Skin
You know what
moisturizer.
I actually
yeah.
Have you used-
everybody- Instant Angel? Yeah.
Instant Angel moisturizer.
yeah.
I still do have the moisturizer there,
Yeah.
but I do use Dew Skin, and it's not because Apologic's moisturizer is not good.
yeah.
It's just because,
No, I think it's amazing. I really wish Shanice would do a body.
again,
Yeah. Well,
it's not because it's not good.
yeah.
It's only because I just refuse. I just can. My whole entire line cannot be apologic.
Right. You can't. It
That's
can't be your whole entire
3 things
body beauty routine can't be
can't
one.
be apologic.
It can't be
It
one
can't be apologic.
brand. Yeah.
It cannot be.
yeah.
So 3 things. Can you imagine? Is dedicated to apologic. Can you imagine?
I don't know. You're really like convincing me to try the master plan.
Oh,
What?
Yeah.
The master plan?
Because I've only done the eye cream. I actually like tried the eye cream from going to one of your events, and it was in the goodie bag, and I was like, "This is incredible."
The amount of people that I've converted into that master plan.
Yeah,
They have stopped wearing makeup before they go on Zoom.
you're kidding.
I'm telling you, they send me photos.
Wow.
I'll show you the photos.
So like, what has it done for you?
Can you not see my face?
I mean, yes, but like specifically, I mean, no, you have incredible skin, but what was like
I
the
said,
before?
I don't know what the before looked like.
Oh, you
I
don't
just know what the
remember?
after looks like.
The
That's
after,
all that
and
matters.
it's working for
No,
you.
all I'll say is that the reason why I know that it is right is because everyone is. I never know what is right because I'm not like obsessive, but it's
Right.
just because everybody be like, "What's on your face? What's on your face?
Yeah.
What happened to your face? And what's?" That's the only reason why I know.
Yeah.
The same thing with my sense. It's everyone else's reaction
Yeah.
that lets me know that
Like,
something
this,
is right.
This is right.
But
yeah.
otherwise, like and let's be honest, both Asmeret and I are not beauty product junkies. We actually are not.
Well, there's so many ways to be a beauty enthusiast. It doesn't
Exactly.
mean that like you're obsessed with product. Like you might just like love the cultural
We
conversation.
love the cultural aspect.
I'm more of like
it.
I'm like obsessed with the business aspect.
We love the culture.
I'm obsessed with the packaging.
She loves
you love
she
the
loves
packaging, yes.
With packaging,
I
Yeah.
love
Very
hearing
sensitive.
people's stories about beauty. I
Yeah.
love talking to people about beauty, but I'm
Yeah.
not like a beauty person.
Right.
So I would say that my real beauty routine started in 2020.
Wow.
So
I mean, as many people's real like skincare routine started in 2020
Yeah.
when I mean it just became like like the industry was just like
Mhm.
so skincare obsessed.
I mean, I wouldn't say like I was skincare scared, but like,
Yeah.
Obviously I was at home and I was talking about beauty all the time. and
Right.
people were just like, "Oh, try this, try that."
You're looking
And
at your face
so-
on Zoom.
I mean,
and-
that wasn't even the case for me. Like,
Yeah.
I've always had okay skin.
Yeah.
I've never been like, going through anything crazy or whatever.
Yeah.
All I know is like my skin was fine. I wasn't stressed out about anything. I never really wore makeup and I don't know how to do makeup or
Yeah.
anything like that. But all I know is that when I switched to Epilogic, let me tell you something. I can be at a party. People just be staring at me.
Really?
Yes.
And it's just like, what is this
Yeah.
secret?
I'll be on the train and people will be in my face.
Oh my gosh. Do you go to like her
No.
get her services?
No, I don't
as
go to
well?
services. Actually, that's the only thing I don't do. I actually go to Barbara Sturm's. There's this one lady that I go
okay.
to there. That's amazing.
Oh, put me on because I go to Dermalogica whenever I'm in LA. They no longer have a New York studio,
I
but
know.
yeah.
Did you see what's there now? Sorry.
What is
is
there?
there?
What did they
Like
put?
an Echo shoe store. I was
Oh,
so
God.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Of all things, replace Dermalogica with they put an Echo.
But
shoe
it's
store?
interesting because, I was thinking about what you just said now. Did not, because one, sensitive skin, sensitive to smells, all of that, but never was really interested in trying too many different products. But what I realized, it also it's probably because I didn't have a lot of options to try.
That
And
part.
what I
part.
love right now
Yeah.
is I'm actually excited about trying different brands and products right now
Yes.
because there's so much more to
There's
choose
so much
from.
more for
I'm
us.
really kind of excited
Yeah.
going to the bathroom now and seeing what we have.
I would
Not
agree.
me.
No,
No, I am because
I'm
I
just
think
saying,
there's
not
more.
me.
Yeah.
No, but
I'm there was not like
there weren't as many options. I mean, I remember like growing up, like if you wore makeup, like black girls didn't really wear makeup like that. And when I was in high school, and then like I really didn't even wear a lot of makeup in college. But then like Rihanna launched Fenty, and I was like, oh, and then Glossier, started launching things that were like more my tone, and like that's when I like Glossier and Fenty are really what like made me a bit like beauty obsessed, and then more like black owned skincare founders started launching their brands, and that's where like I really kicked up my beauty journey as well. So you make like a really interesting point about how like the offerings and what is available has now made us more and more excited about our
there's an
beauty
exciting
routines.
time right now. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of challenges and still
Yeah.
a lot to be done, but it's still an exciting
Yeah.
time though.
Yeah.
I think I agree. I think it's an exciting time.
Yes.
I think it's great for everyone to try all the things they want to try.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm not a fan
We'll
of
refrain.
I'm not a fan of like testing
Testing.
things
Yeah, I know.
at all. I mean, right now I'm testing a newly skin.
Oh,
oil.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I
And
tested
so
them.
far
Yeah.
I'm like enjoying it.
Yeah.
But I'm
great for
not like
winter.
a big fan of like
Yeah.
trying things. And if I'm getting a really great reaction with what's happening with my face, why would I ever?
Why would you switch it up?
I'm
So
not,
true.
I'm not switching anything up.
I know. There's this fine line between a loyalist and like not so loyal in beauty right now. But
Yeah.
this has been such a fun conversation. Again, it feels so full circle because like you all really have been so like important to me in building my beauty community in New York. So thank you for all that you do again, and thank you all for joining. This has been so fun.
No, this was
Same.
great. Thank
Yes.
you.
And remember, Black Beauty Club is you.
Yes, Black
Yes.
Beauty Club is me, and it's you, and it's all of us. So
Yes.
where can they find you all?
The Black Beauty Club Instagram
Yes,
or the Black Beauty Club on YouTube.
yes.
Or sign up to our mailing list on theblackbeautyclub.com because that's where we always share first.
Yes.
Yay. Well, I'll be at your next event.